One of these days, we'll definitely bring you the BTS, so the behind the scenes of what happens before that countdown or that roll out on the screen, and we up here. But anyway, it's all good. Save that for our socials. It's Jay, it's Lenny, it's Serial. We're here on That Culture Daily. It's still here, 7 to 10 a.m. We come your way 3 straight hours, Monday to Friday. If you're new to this, then welcome to the show. We are also live on Plus 89.9 FM. Well, today we're not here alone. We are honored to have a very, very important personality join us on the show for a big, well, not a big conversation, our morning bite. Because something to talk about when it comes to the world of art. Well, still a bite,
our big bite.
Our big bite, right?
A very big bite.
Let's welcome Mr. Francis Doku. Welcome. Yes. I don't know. You started with you started with a look, right?
Yeah, I like how he looks. I mean, from head to toe, your hat, your fit. You know how the hat is matching the fit and everything, right?
But
I like it. It looks really good. I'm told it's a branding for you. But what informed that? I mean,
well, I just thought that I had to look different, you know. I mean, if I come with my hair, I don't look any different from Jay. So,
how many pieces do you have?
Oh, I have quite a lot. I mean, a section of my wardrobe has all the hats, you know, and all that. So I have a few.
Nice.
How's the last thing you take when you are done with the outfit?
With the outfit, yeah.
And sometimes I had to look, okay, is this matching or this other one or this other one? And then finally,
another thing that piques my interest is because I'm also, you know, setting on that path to have a collection of hats.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
okay.
Yeah, I have a few now, so it interests me. So you're my hat mentor.
Thank you so much.
Look, recently, it was posted online. It was it's public knowledge. Mr. Francis Doku was with TV3 at first, and then he shared his resignation and moving on to new spaces and all. It was like, hey, where is he? He's going to this thing
international.
Yeah, he's stepping out into it. But it interests me. So when I saw the post online, I was like, okay. Then the next thing is when you introduce this conversation about tourism, and I'm like, okay, I have never really heard Francis talk about this space of tourism. I mean, media personality, yes, but to take it on as something that you're focusing on, I was like, okay, we need to talk about this.
Yes.
So I want to understand the transition. It's still media, but tourism is another whole space on its own.
Okay, I think that I've been in that space for some time. I mean, work with different markets, destinations to help promote their destination.
Oh yes, now I remember that.
I think there was a time for about 2 to 2.5 years that I even hosted a tourism show. In fact, it was the only tourism show on 3FM. We called it Travel Pass. It was Sunday from 5 to 6, until I think 2021 when, few things I couldn't do it anymore. But when I left, I thought that, okay, maybe I could look at taking it to a higher level, which is not limiting it to what happens only in Ghana, but looking at Pan-African level. I think there's been conversation over time about how to put Africa a bit out there to get the best out of, travel, tourism, trade, people moving from one place to the other on the continent. There are too many inhibitions, things that prevent us. I mean, it's more difficult for me to travel from here to, say, Botswana or Namibia than to go to London or places like that.
What is it? It's crazy because people complain about it so much.
Yeah, so many inhibitions. One is the ticket fare, and that is also because countries charge a lot when planes land. The taxes you pay, so they add all that. So there's a need for conversations about some of these things. The visa issues, and all that. I mean, we're happy that recently South Africa and Ghana announced a visa waiver. So I could just pick my back from November.
So that thing is
happening in November, from 1st November.
Hey!
So that's a good one. That's a good one. And I think things that people have spoken about for a long time. Malema, for instance, South African MP. Julius Malema.
Yeah.
He thinks that, I mean, we're all Africans. Why should I get a visa to go to another country?
He's been very passionate and vocal.
Very, very vocal.
If some African country is nothing like your country, get ready to have
of people.
So that's a good one.
Yeah.
And it's also, I believe, a small part of the bigger conversation of, Pan-African, travel, ease of travel. I mean, Ghana, for instance, in 2015 decided to give all African countries visas on arrival. So if you are from any other country in Africa, those that we don't have visa waiver agreement with. I mean, like West Africa, nobody needs a visa to go to another country.
Yeah.
But if you're from East Africa, Southern Africa, and we don't have Kenya, for instance, we have visa waiver with them for a long time. Tanzania, Zimbabwe, and other countries. But those that we didn't, just pick your bag and come together and pay visa on arrival, and then you enter the country. I think it's $150 or so. They reduce it to 100 at some point. So that's conversation that has been going on. And so we just want to look at how to have a bigger conversation on that. Issues about security, people complain.
I was just about to touch on that. I think one of Africa's biggest nightmare with which fights tourism is security.
Yeah.
You know, trusting that wherever you touch down on land, information as read online, it is what it is there, and if you are going to be able to, you know,
I have a question.
Okay.
Is it security? Is there a security threat on the continent traveling around, or is there the perception of a security threat? Because statistically, Africa doesn't measure up so horribly to the UK or to Europe or to America or to Australia or to Asia. Statistically, if you're talking about pickpockets, petty theft, the kind of inconveniences you face when you're a traveler, your hotel being broken into, if you look at the stats, it's not like there's a great spike in Africa and everywhere else. It's literally the whole world is risky.
There's a balance.
But there's been this for me, because I've also had this conversation on some level. It's like there's a perception stronger that Africa is a risk, partly because of how we are.
It is actually
as to what it is, because how it's portrayed in the media, the parts of the media that we choose to communicate, and the amplification of our negatives. When something goes wrong in Africa, the whole world, including Africa, amplifies it. When something goes wrong in Europe, it's a European problem. When something goes wrong in the UK, it's a UK problem.
Right.
When something goes wrong in America, it's an American problem.
It hardly slips out.
It hardly slips up for us to be bellowing it along with them. But when something goes wrong in Africa, it's been reported on CNN, BBC, Sky, Al Jazeera, and the man was robbed on his holiday. And so that is what, for me, I think it is. I think it's the perception, the perceived threat or risk is what is affecting us.
I think Cyril has hit the nail right on the head. I mean, and the reason for which some of this is the podcast that I'm starting, Africa Rising, is to clear some of these perceptions. Point is that, and I'm sure you heard recently, about a year or two ago, when Akon, was speaking about the fact that Africa is unable to tell its story because we don't have the platform to tell.
I think he was also on some podcast.
We don't have the platform to tell our story. The story is told by CNN, BBC,
Al Jazeera,
DW, Al Jazeera, and they say it from their perspective.
Right.
So we need to also have a voice, to be able to speak about the things that, there are a lot of bad things everywhere. And Africa also has bad things. But there are a lot of good things also on this continent. Yeah. So many good things. In fact, I say that we are the warmest people on earth. When you meet an African, the kind of warmth that you feel is so real that, you don't get that in many places. People are cold to you in many other parts of the world. Yeah. We have some of the most beautiful things on the continent. Our beaches,
on the
clean
planet.
Ghana and all that. Clean Ghana beaches, Kakra. But there are beautiful beaches in many other places.
All across.
Recently, I think in May or June, I was in Namibia, Swakopmund. Very beautiful resort place. Nice beach, cold, and all that.
Let's talk about Namibia. It looks like it's one of those countries that is not really talked about, but it is a very, very beautiful place. I had the chance to just do a touch and go, and I was quite surprised.
It's a beautiful, beautiful country. And again, very good that you brought up. And the narrative again, and let me cite this as an example. Everybody traveled to Dubai. They want to do the desert safari, right? Yeah. Because it's adrenaline,
but the safari
and all that.
There's desert here.
Listen, that desert in Namibia, the safari in Namibia, is way better than what happens in Dubai.
Right. Wow.
Because the dunes are higher. The Namibian dunes are like 3 times the size of the dunes in Dubai. So if you go up like that and you're coming
hell of an
down, you are
experience.
dying before you get
That's
there.
have you, have you had that experience before in Dubai?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
Yeah,
Look.
it is
No.
crazy. So I'm telling you that the
desert.
Namibia one is like 3 times what you experience.
I'm not
in Dubai.
going. Listen.
But nobody talks about that as much as we talk about
as a
Dubai.
communications
I held the shit like this. I was like, oh my God, get me
Who sent me?
And you know what they do? They give you the paper bag, so if you want to vomit,
Vomit,
you
yeah.
vomit in
Vomit
it. So
into
because
it.
they know some people will vomit anyway. But the
my
Namibia
God.
one is high. The experience is better.
It's better.
I'm telling you, it's okay. It's scarier.
Thank you.
But the point is that is not spoken about as much as what we speak about in the so
Dubai.
the whole conversation about what happens in Africa, the good things we don't speak about them that much. The bad things we trumpet them like Cyril is saying, and the international media is there to help us talk about the negative things more. So we need to have a voice to speak about the good things on our continent to drive up things. I mean, just a small point also is that in 2019, which is considered as the golden year of travel, because the biggest numbers of travels across the world was recorded in that year.
Oh, wow.
I think
Just
about-
before we went into
just before
COVID.
it was like God said, look, you people are
Lockdown.
traveling too much, so I'm stopping you.
Sit in the house.
It was the highest number of travel ever in the history of travel. There was about 1.2 billion people traveling around the world.
Wow.
Africa had only 4.5% of that number, which is about 52 million. I mean, the countries like Spain, Italy, who had bigger numbers than the whole of Africa's number put together. So there's a need to try and look at how
There
we
was,
can.
there was,
I
I think, was it
understand.
Greece or someplace there was over tourism, and they had to close down places.
There are many places in Europe that are over tourism. I was in Pisa in Italy, and the people are protesting that they see too many
I think
people
that was
coming.
the first
to
time I
that
heard the phrase. So there's
Even-
an actual
even-
phrase
even
called
Venice.
over tourism.
When
Yeah.
people are
Suffering
actually
tourism
working.
Venice,
as a problem.
Venice in Italy has over tourism because there are more tourists walking the street than the citizens. And they
citizens.
complaining. They were demonstrating that we're
Mungo
getting
Fie.
too many people coming into our place
Crazy.
because a lot of things happen when a lot of people come to your place. Also, things become expensive when tourists are in your town. Things become expensive. The locals have to fight for tourists, and all that. And so maybe God said, "Look here, you guys are traveling too much. Let me put you, let me halt you for
put it
some
at
time
home."
before." So
tourism,
2020
wow.
became the least year of travel ever, because of the COVID and lockdown, and all that. But it's picking. I think last week when we were recording one of the podcasts, we spoke with an aviation person who says that, look, now people are traveling, are boarding airplanes more to travel than even before pre-COVID period now.
Francis,
Okay, so-
the African Rising podcast is trying to, or is actually projecting Africa through communication and the podcast, right?
Yeah.
Looking beyond that, I'm also seeing a thing as actual, gathering people, touring with
touring
people,
around.
Yeah.
going probably around Ghana, around Africa, probably also around the world,
Absolutely,
right?
yeah.
What are your
No,
plans
that's
on
good.
that?
So it's supposed to be like an ecosystem you build. Let's have conversations, but beyond conversations, what else do we do? Advocacy. You need to move to people who make these decisions on the things that you think are inhibiting travel, tourism, people
Yeah.
going across the continent, and then also looking at how to organize people to experience all
What
that
you're
we're
talking
talking
about,
the
right? Yeah.
warmth, the beauty of the wildlife, Okavango, Serengeti, and all those places. The northern African countries going to see the belly dancers in Morocco and places like that.
And making it
you know.
cheaper as well, because I think
You know,
that's
again,
why some...
it's expensive. So looking at how, for instance, if I have $1,000, what can I do across Africa? Where can I go, and how would that
much.
help me? Able
You
to,
go
you
to
know?
the northern region. Yeah, in Ghana, yeah, Accra, go to the north.
It cost you, let's say because of one I'm just checking out right now was from Heathrow to Morocco, just about $150 pounds, almost £200.
Maybe about £200.
Yes. Meanwhile, travel from
Ghana to
Accra to
Morocco.
Morocco.
to
And they're doing
Be
maybe
more
about
expensive.
400 to 500,
it doesn't make sense.
That's like 3 times the cost. That's a lot.
Are they in your research? Are there any conversations with the key stakeholder, the key players, to kind of give a solution to this? Because we've seen the likes of Rwanda do probably the greatest rebrand in African history, from their very dark history to now a place that personally is on my list to go.
At least in the last couple of months.
Yesterday, I was
right?
even checking my TripAdvisor again. I was seeing that they've now come to add joggers lanes to all the major highways.
Wow.
Even in the UK, there are no joggers lanes.
Yeah.
There's joggers lane, biker lane, and then there's the road.
Yeah, I was there in 2019.
Yeah. So and I was like, oh, Rwanda, they
You forgot it.
So yesterday I just saw it. What is Rwanda doing? They are sponsoring on the EPL. What is Rwanda doing that is so difficult or magical that as Africa, the rest of us are not being able to?
You see, the thing about tourism, and I believe any other thing, is to be deliberate about what you want to achieve. You need to have a strategy and say that, okay, this, and things that I want to achieve. And then on the basis of that, you look at what can I do to help make sure that these things happen. I think that's what Rwanda has done. They had a tourism development corporation whose responsibility is to ensure that they properly develop tourism, as it were. So they have that big strategy that has driven them to where they are. So that when people come into your country, they experience all the things that you envisioned. It's not to say that we gateway to Africa, and when you come, the castles are there. You have to be deliberate about it. And they have been deliberate about it. For instance, you don't need a visa to go to Rwanda. When you get there, they give you visa on arrival. And some countries have done that also. Seychelles, for instance. Yeah. Anywhere you are in the world, any country at all, just pick your bag and go to Seychelles. They give you visa on arrival. And when they do, they make sure that they put in the things that will check security. So that they don't have people coming who are also, there are bad people who may come to your country. So they have the measures they've put in place to make sure so they're not afraid to say that, people who are bad, because we need to check their status when they apply for visa and all that before we let them come in. They make sure that when you're in a country, you stick by the rules. Rwanda, for instance, one of the most difficult places to go to the airports. It's very difficult going to the airports in Rwanda, when you are exiting. Because the processes you have to go through. You can't walk like the way people walk to Kotoka and go and see people off. You can't.
Tell us about it. How?
Because the security at the airport is very tight. Your bag, you put it goes through something, dogs sniff it before you go and pick your bag, and then you go through another checkpoint before you enter. So even though you may not need a visa,
there's intentionality.
There's intentional to make sure that they protect the people in there, so there's nothing that will hurt their security. Because security at that airport is very tight.
Have they done any expansions at the airports? I haven't been there in a while.
I think they're doing an expansion. They were going to do an expansion the last time I was there. But I don't know if COVID, worried it, but they were going to do some expansion. That was in 2019. Countries have been deliberate about certain things. If you take Namibia that we touched on, for instance, they realize that, these days people travel not because they want to go on holiday, but people travel even when they are working. So you don't say that this is June, I'm going on holiday and I'm traveling to Namibia. They know that it's June, you're still working. So
just want a change of environment.
Yeah, they give what they called nomad visas. Because they say, they are digital nomads. People come into their country. They want to work and still have experiences and all that. Yeah. So this visa, especially for somebody who wants to do that, they could give up to 6 months. They come and stay in Namibia and work and experience our country. And they've had a lot of people apply for those visas and got them. And people have come into the country, increasing their number of arrivals. And also because the thing about tourism is that once people come into your country, they'll use foreign currency. And once they use foreign currency, it goes around, and all that. So those are some of the deliberate things that people are doing. And I must also say, for us, for instance, we were very deliberate about attracting people from the diaspora in 2019 when we did the Year of Return. And that has been one of the biggest tourism marketing, activities a nation has taken. And that has endeared us to many people in the African diaspora, especially. Listen, everybody you talk to, whether in South Africa, in the UK, in Tanzania, I was talking to a lady who organizes travel in Tanzania. They said everybody wants to come to Ghana in December. And she was saying that, I don't know what you guys did. You speak to everybody. They said it's Ghana they want to go to. I was recently speaking to a Nigerian business partner who said, listen, as for this December, I'm coming to Ghana because I've heard so much about December in Ghana.
I have a question for you on that.
Yeah.
It's good to say you are selling something. Yeah, people will come and buy. But what they come and buy, do you think we are matching up to what we are selling, what we have advertised? All these people who are falling for the advertising and are coming in, and it seems all we have are music, concerts, and Cape Coast Castle. What do you think the balance is?
Dora, I would agree that our products, our tourism products, are limited. Because there's some places you go to that you have so much to do that you don't even finish doing it and you have to leave. You could spend 2 weeks and you won't finish all the different experiences. I mean, example is Dubai. You can go to Dubai and you won't finish all the things that you have to do, and then
your flight back.
Yeah, your money will finish and you have to leave. But our experience, our products are very limited. It's either we go to Kakum, we go to Elmina, we go to Cape Coast, we
Mole National Park.
Some people go to Plea.
Yeah.
And the mosque that has collapsed.
So yes, we have captured the world with our destination as a place to come to around December, but we haven't been able to properly.
It's not self-sabotage, because when people come in the same review, there's no stronger advertising than a consumer review.
Yeah.
And then also word of mouth.
Word of mouth is big in
people go back and say, "Oh, it was all just hype."
Yeah.
Then we might lose the chance. The boy who cried wolf. The next time we are shouting, "Visit Ghana."
But you see, the thing also is that some of the people, they have all those things in their country already. So all they want to do is come and chill and go back around December. So some people will continue to come, but others may not, because they didn't get more different experiences apart from the concerts and the drinks.
So we are more of a party destination.
We are becoming a party destination. Puerto Rico or places like that.
Exactly. South America, Brazil. People go to go and party. And, Brazil, when people go to Brazil, they don't go for the pyramids, and there are pyramids in Brazil and all that.
Cyril had said something a couple of months back when we kicked
go to the Copacabana beach.
They were partying non-stop, 24
hours. He said something when we started the show. We're trying to understand why people were coming to Ghana in December. Through our deliberations, he made a point and he said that, look, it looks like music is at the top of the food chain as to what people are, what experience they're coming for. Because there were a lot of music concerts. There was Wonderland, there was Afro Nation, there was Afrochella, and all these music-based concerts. Now, one of the biggest ones has been taken out, which is Afro Nation.
Yeah.
Quite a number of would fit in. Do you think that we should look at this as a music month more than tourism? Like, I'm coming to see some waterfalls, and because I don't think we've sold those falls as the reason why people are coming. It's a music experience that people are coming for. Is it something that we should
party destination?
Yeah. We should rather look at? I mean, it's not bad. It's not bad.
But that's what you said, Copacabana Beach, because people fly to the beach and don't care about the artifacts and the history. Yeah. The party at Copacabana doesn't stop. But just for context, the beach is a party destination all day round, all year round.
Is it something? Is it that we should look at it?
So we can also own that.
Yeah,
like it's just we're not talking about it in that light, because 90% of the people who came, I mean, I don't think they came for Kakumo. They heard Kakumo was like, wow. Yeah. There was Afro Nation and and all the other concerts that piqued people's interest, and then they were in town.
The risk is what happens to those entities when more of them do what Afro Nation has done.
When more of the other countries, you mean?
No, when these are events.
Yes.
And we are hosting them.
Yeah.
We don't own them.
We don't own them.
So the same way Afro Nation grew legs and has gone to Nigeria, right? Anybody who came to Ghana for Afro Nation as their main motivation now will be motivated to go to Nigeria. What happens when because our economy is small. So even for the homegrown events like Afro Future and whatever, it will get to a point where they've grown so big that we cannot fuel the event anymore. It needs to go somewhere else and feed on a bigger market.
The thing that I think, and why also getting into this podcast is looking at how to market Africa as a destination. So okay, if I'm coming to Africa from, say, maybe the Caribbean, can I, for instance, do wildlife in East Africa? Can I do a party in Ghana? Can I go to Southern Africa for beach? Can I go to, that kind of thing? So there's a kind of a bouquet, and maybe Ghana has taken the path where we say, like you said, come to Ghana and party, and maybe go to Benin for a voodoo experience.
For the cultural experience.
Cultural experience.
Go to somewhere for beach.
Go to this and all that. So eventually that becomes what? Because we have divided and siloed our continent for too long. And that's one of the things that I think we need to do, to project the continent as a place where when you come, you have all these bouquet of experiences.
You are looking at Africa as one destination.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So instead of looking at, I'm going to Ghana, how can I go to Africa and maximize my
all these
tourist
experiences before I
Like the
exit,
same way we go to America, we know that, okay, I have to go to
Yeah.
DMV for this
Yeah,
party.
absolutely.
And then I have to go to here
New
for
York
this thing,
for the
Africa
street
becomes
food.
a country.
Africa
becomes
becomes
a
a
country.
country.
Yeah.
So like one destination and different experiences. Because we know Ghana, it doesn't matter how we try. We can go and bring all the wildlife in Botswana or Kenya. We're not a wildlife destination. People don't connect us to wildlife.
Yeah. There's
You
a
know why?
perception
One
about
of
us.
the reasons is that when white people, tourists come here and they're on the road going to Kumasi, they see you holding those kusie, things at
wildlife.
Yenam on the rail. They don't take you seriously when it comes to wildlife because they think, well, you're going to kill all the animals and eat them, And so it doesn't matter what we do. We may have to do a lot in marketing
Change that
to
perception.
change that perception because it's deep seated. I was in South Africa some time ago. One this guy who's a documentary, he used to do documentaries for CNN, and he mentioned emphatically that he's not coming to Ghana because when he came to Ghana sometime to do documentaries, he saw how we treat wildlife. And for him,
Which is sad.
it's a total put off.
sad.
So there's a
But it's not because of him that we won't eat our kusi.
Yeah.
There's a video that went viral. I don't know if you saw it.
Yeah,
There was this
I think
guy
you
who
also
was
said
going to kill a dog, taking a dog to go and do justice with it. And this white guy was filming and saying that like this is an abomination.
Abomination,
Don't do
yeah.
this. Like he was filming it. And the comments and I was like, my guy.
And I'm going to probably eating dogs without knowing.
should
I
see
wanted
what they
to
do to
find
cats.
out
Let's
from
all right.
Francis, what's your most memorable experience, while on tour, while traveling around Africa, both good and bad?
I think for me, some of the best times I've had was in South Africa. There was a time that we did a tour on motorbikes from Cape Town around the Table Mountain to some winelands, behind the Table Mountain, and did a lot of wine tasting. That for me was
I think I saw the
amazing.
pictures he posted on
Yeah,
that.
that was good because we rode this Harley Davidsons and then did a wine tour, and all that. There've been times when I've done the hot air balloon around Johannesburg. That's fantastic, the hot air balloon. I remember one of the ladies who was with us. She said that, listen, if any man comes to approach me and ask me, have you done a hot air balloon? If you haven't, please don't come here.
Francis, so tell us, when does this podcast kick off and where should we catch it as well?
Oh, the podcast starts from 1st November, so we've been doing a lot of work around it for now, and we're ready to let it go out now from 1st November. And one of the key platforms that, and also because we believe in making sure that we push things that are made in Africa, is an content platform app that was created in Ghana by Pebble. It's Pebble Studios at Hacho. They created a platform. I mean, if you go on your iOS or Android, you look for My Pebble, you'll find it, and that's the first place where we'll publish the content. But also because we want to give it a bigger voice and let people from across the world experience it. We also will let it be on the usual podcast platforms, Spotify, iTunes, Google
Music,
Podcasts, and all of them. So we're exploring all the opportunities, but these ones are the key ones on which you will
Fantastic. Thank you so very much for joining us on the show this morning.
We're also having
Yeah.
talks with, people like you and platforms like
Yeah,
yours.
we'll
to
definitely
see
have
how
a
we can push
conversation
that.
on
But
this.
thank you so much for the opportunity
Yeah.
to be here today.
No, thank you as well.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
we
Thank
definitely-
you so
yeah.
much.
I told you, big morning bites.
I like that. Well, yes. So we've been talking. I don't even know how to title Francis now as the new Mr. Tourism. Yes, but it's good that you've taken this route as
Yeah,
well, and of course we'll
nice.
all be of support to this as well.
Sure.
Anyway, there is more to come on the show this morning. Hey, guess what? Samini will be performing live inside our studios. Plus, he'll be on a big conversation. You can't afford to miss this. Tomorrow, the brunch is happening at Beehive. Issy will tell us more about it. But right now, let's get ready to play some music. Our song of the day starters. Check it out.